Hi folks, this is Brian from DIYlandscaping.info, and in this do-it-yourself video tutorial I'm going to show you how to outlet your sump pump outflow as well as any downspouts away from your house or any landscaped areas. What we're going to do is we're going to take a sump pump outflow and a downspout, tie those both into 4-inch drain towel, run that drain towel underground, outletting it somewhere in the turf area where water can run off without causing any damage to anything. So let's take a look at a situation. This is a typical setup. We have a downspout releasing water from here, and as you can see the homeowners place some concrete items here to keep water away from the house, keep it flowing away from the house. And then over here we have the sump pump pumping water out of this white PVC pipe and into this black tube. And then this black tube is releasing water somewhere in the turf area. In this situation you can see the severe turf damage done from this setup. Now, we could just extend this tube out further into the turf area, but then we'd have an ugly pipe sitting in the lawn and you'd have to move it when you cut the grass or aerate or dethatch. Basically, it'd become a nuisance. So the best way to solve this problem is to run a more rigid pipe underground and find a good place in the turf area to pop it up to the surface where water can run off without destroying anything. Since we're going to be digging, the first thing we need to do is call the local utility companies so they can mark where any cables or pipes are located. You can call your local village office for more info on that. This is extremely important. Make sure you have your property marked before you dig. As you can see, I've already had that done. Next, we want to find a good runoff spot. This should be determined in part by how much water is being released. Most downspouts can be outletted just a few feet from the house because typically they don't discharge a ton of water. You just want to get the water being released away from the house. Some sump pumps, like the one I have in this situation, will discharge a lot of water. So the runoff spot should be chosen wisely. We want to find a runoff spot that is far enough away from the house where no damage will occur and the water exiting will not negatively affect any neighbors. You don't want to start a war, trust me on that one. Some villages may allow you to tie into the storm sewer system. If you have one located near your house, you can contact your local village for more information on that application. In the situation I have here, I'm going to run the drain towel to the back of the yard and outlet it somewhere right around here. This is the property line. We have this open field behind us so water can run off into here and not negatively affect anyone. So I'm actually going to move right over here and mark my spot. Now we're ready to mark off the area in which the drain towel is going to navigate through. Don't choose areas near trees or in landscaping unless absolutely necessary, because digging through roots can make the job more difficult and you could cause severe damage to any trees or plants. So I'm going to take my can of marking paint and mark the area on the ground. You want to try to stay linear. It will be much easier to use a trenching machine that way. Once you've finished marking your path, the next step is to remove the grass. The way you're going to want to do that is use this machine. This is a sod cutting machine and it's got this knife-like apparatus on the bottom. What happens is as the machine propels along, that knife cuts underneath the roots, allowing you to take the grass up just like sod. Now that the sod has been cut, I'm going to take a straight edge shovel and cut it in about 4-foot increments so it's not too heavy to remove. I'm also going to place the sod on this side of the project area because when the trenching machine comes through, it's going to take that dirt and place it on this side. You also want to remember to, when you roll the sod up and you place it far enough away from the project area so you have plenty of room to maneuver the trenching machine. and you just roll it up like so. And again, remember to put it on this side.
Now once you finish with the sod cutting machine and laid your sod a couple of feet from the project area, your path should look like this. You're basically ready to use the trenching machine to do most of the digging for you.
So this is a trenching machine. These tines on this arm are going to go down and dig into the soil and scoop it up and place it on this side of the machine. I'm going to guide this down my marked path. I'm going to set this arm, there's a lever on this machine that allows this arm to go up and down. I'm going to set it at about a foot deep. That way I'm going to have 6 to 8 inches of soil above my drain tile. The drain tile is 4 inches deep. If this is going down a foot, obviously there's 6 to 8 inches above that. We want that soil above the drain tile so when we go to aerate in the future, we don't do any damage or puncture the drain tile. I'm also going to start the machine about 4 to 5 feet from the house, just as a precautionary measure. And then that remaining 4 to 5 feet I'll just dig by hand. So I've stopped the trenching machine here because of these utility markings. So I will dig the rest of this trench by hand, as well as up at my starting point by the house. So I'm at a point in digging my trench where I need to remove some stuff. I need to take this extender off of the downspout, and I also need to take this extender off of the sump pump outflow. What I'm going to do is take a hacksaw and cut this PVC right above this elbow piece. Just remove that, then I can finish digging my trench in here.
Once you've finished hand digging, your trench should look something like this. You don't need to worry about the loose debris on the bottom of the trench. Just grade that out a little bit, make it nice and even, but you don't need to remove it. The drain towel is going to sit on that, and that's okay. Water's not going to actually flow through this trench, it's going to flow through the drain towel. So the most important thing is to make sure that that drain towel is buried 6 to 8 inches under the grass level. The next step is to put the catch basin in its place underneath the sump pump outflow and mark where you're going to cut a hole in the top of it so the water can flow from the sump pump outflow into the catch basin. The next thing you're going to do is take a hole saw, which is basically a drill attachment, and cut through your markings that you marked on the top of the catch basin, like I'm doing in this photo.
Okay, so I finished this setup here. So what we have here is we have our sump pump outflow, which I cut the PVC. Beneath that is a catch basin, and I drilled a hole in the top of that catch basin. So now we have this nice space in here, and the reason that we want that space is it's a common problem in the wintertime for sump pump outflows to freeze up and damage the sump pump in the sump pump pit inside the basement. So now we have this gap, so if this drain tile is filled with water and freezes up, the sump pump outflow will still release water and it will just go on the ground and just freeze in the ground. It won't back up into the sump pump pit, causing any damage to the sump pump. And I've also connected a downspout adapter here, and then using a T and cutting a couple pieces of drain tile, I've connected the catch basin with the downspout. So now we're ready to connect this downspout into the T and run it through our path.
You can see in this photo the catch basin is put in place. Got the hole that I drilled in the top of it and the space between it and the sump pump outflow. And it's connecting to a little piece of drain tile that I cut, which connects to the T. And then the T connects to another little piece of drain tile that I cut, which connects to the downspout adapter. As you can see, I've connected the drain tile and filled in the trench with the dirt that was laying on the side. There was some dirt left over, I did remove that. I've made it a little bit high because in a couple of weeks that sod that we put back down is going to sink a little bit, so you're going to get a little bit of settling there. But you don't want to go too high. It's easier to fill in a valley than it is to remove a hump. The next step is to put the grass back down. All you do is throw the sod down and unroll it. Once you put the grass back down, next step is to cut this piece of drain tile that you're going to have sticking up. You want to cut it with a knife. Cut it at the soil level, not the grass level. Once you've cut that last piece of drain tile that was sticking up, It's time to put the grate in. The grate should look something like these photos. Should be below the grass blade level and slightly above the dirt level. And then you're all finished.